What's up everyone? Today we're going to be making a watercolor flower card for Mother's Day. So what I'll be using is something to draw a circle, which I'm going to use this mug, and the mug is the best because it has the circle, and I'm also going to be using the outline of the handle to build flowers. I'm also going to be using a lip balm to draw a smaller circle in the middle. Then you're going to be needing your paints and brushes. So I'm using watercolor paints, this water-filled brush to add the water to give the gradient, and two paintbrushes to add the gradients of color. So to first start, we need to draw the flower. So to get started on drawing the flower, I'm going to first use the outside rim of the cup to draw a circle. And again, try to do this as lightly as possible, because this circle definitely is going to be erased by the end. I'm also going to use, oh I forgot to say this at the beginning, but a lip balm or any like smaller circle, because I definitely want the inner bud of the flower to be prominent. So I'm going to use a smaller circle. It doesn't have to be centered because you can like depending on where you put this, you can have a flower at an angle. So now to start drawing bigger flowers, I'm going to use the outside rim of the handle to start this process. Now, you don't need to be perfect and you don't need to get all the way to the end of the handle, because what I'm going to do is once we like draw these petals, we want them to not be touching, so then we can add a watercolor and make each leaf its own, like have its own watercolor and water added. This will make more sense later on, but we're gonna start with that basic, simple, big petals. This looks like a great flower, and you could totally just watercolor this to make a simple flower, but to get this like interwoven looping and to get the watercolor, I'm gonna start building up where I want my petals to go. So I'm gonna just start here because this one is like a larger overlap, and I'm gonna make a like water droplet end, curve up, and meet at a point to the next one. And I'm going to do this process, so start erasing this because I don't want these points to be touching the next leaf of the petal. So now we have the first row of petals done. I'm going to use the space between the petals we've already created and this circle to start making another row. I'm actually going to, like this one, basically right here, I know that I can fit a petal with the larger part here and going in to a point. However, for some other ones I might need to work around, so I might start erasing this circle to be able to fit all of the petals in and make sure they don't look too uniform because it is a flower. So now that we've reached the middle circle, I'm going to start erasing it very lightly, because in the middle, as the petals start coming to closer, I'm going to start going more into this boomerang shape. sort of following the lines here, but essentially instead of having a bigger to smaller end, we're gonna have essentially equal ends. And then at the very end for the last one, I'm going to do this circle shape with a little cutout in the middle. So like essentially if you've ever drawn like the iris with the little glint, essentially I'm going to do that. And I might add just a circle right there. And this is going to be the shape of your rose. So now that we have our flower drawn, I'm going to start painting it. So again, gotta grab the eraser. And because I don't want the pencil lines showing, I'm gonna start erasing them. But you'll still be able to see them. So it's very light, you'll still be able to see it. And for this, since we're first going to be drawing in water, it's best if you have, as you see right now, my light is coming from this direction, so I'm able to put my head here and basically angle it so I can see where I'm putting the water. Now this is just a pen filled with water that I'm going to start dropping a drop of water and essentially just make sure I'm filling in where I want the paint to go. So now that we have this now that we have this one petal painted, I am going to grab my watercolor and my paintbrushes, and we're going to start putting color onto this leaf. Now what we have here, we have the water and the paint is going to only sit where we've put the water. I'm gonna get these paints begun. I'm gonna use pink and orange. And you want to make sure that these paintbrushes you're using are just saturated with the paint color, not so much the water, because obviously we have the water on this petal. You definitely also want to use a thicker paper since there's going to be a lot of water. As you can see, it's already starting to bunch, but I think that adds to the flower. And I'm going to just start running it along the line. So you're going to get this really cool blend between the two colors, and it's going to be essentially like a tie-dye rose. I'm going to do a few more. There's different techniques. Obviously you can do this half and half. You can also do just like half and half from the top, half and half from the sides. Get to this point where if I went to start painting this petal, I would be hitting these. I'm gonna actually start one on the outside and one on the middle, and to let these have time to dry. And this is the finished product. So now you can cut this out, put either fancy paper on it or just write on it in the back, and you have a great flower you can use for your Mother's Day card.